Hello my darlings and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a little bit of a expose on myself because I'm going to tell you guys some books that I think every horror fan should read, but I haven't read them. Guys, it's a struggle. There are so many books out there and so little time to read them all that there are a few books that I feel like most people that are fans of horror and don't just watch movies should read. And I haven't read some of them. So, this is basically a video of me telling you how horrible of a horror fan that I am. Yes, let's revoke her horror fiend card. She is an imposter. 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 Yeah. I'm going to go in with the heavy hitter. If you are a fan of horror, you're a fan of horror literature, one of the books that is always recommended, I do own it, but one of the books that is recommended a lot, and people probably have the biggest reaction to hearing that I haven't read it, is The Exorcist. So, for clarification, I have seen The Exorcist. The Exorcist is in my top 3 favorite movies. I might have bumped it down. It might be in just the top 5 now. But I believe it's in the top 3 of my favorite movies ever. So I know what The Exorcist is about, guys. I've seen The Exorcist. My horror movie cinema card is still here. I have seen it. I just haven't read it. I bought the book last year because I was just tired of hearing everyone tell me that I needed to read it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy the book and I'm going to read it. And then it just sat there and it's still sitting there. But it's a personal goal of mine this year to read most of these books that's on this list because it's about time that I do. I'm tired of hearing that I need to read these books. I want to know what I'm missing out on. And also, I have a feeling that if I don't read these books soon, that they're just going to get overhyped in my head. And I'm never going to read them. Or I'm going to read them and they're not going to be as good as I was hoping. So, I need to read them. So The Exorcist is number 1, obviously. Number 2 on the list, Psycho. Another one that I have seen the movie, but never read the book. It's also another one of those that people, like, very often recommend the book to me. So, I don't own it, but I plan to own it soon. But people are constantly telling me I need to read this book, and I haven't read this book, and I don't know why. Except for the fact that I don't own it. That's probably why. That's probably the biggest why. I'm also going to throw this into the mix. Basically, anything by Richard Laymon. I own a Laymon book. I started to read it once. Got caught up in a bunch of real life stuff, so I didn't finish it. But I've never read any of Richard Laymon's books. And the bad thing is that when I was reading his book, I did like his writing style a lot. I've heard that some people have a problem with the way he writes, but I enjoyed it a lot. I think that I'll enjoy his books, but I still have yet to read one, and that's a problem, guys. Okay? Also, in that same vein, basically anything by H.P. Lovecraft. Never read anything by H.P. Lovecraft. I know. He's one of the greats. He's one of the big names in the industry, and I haven't read it. And that's just no good. So I've got to change that. I have a book of his entire collected works, so once again, I don't know what my excuse is, but I'm sure I could find one if you give me enough time. Red Dragon by Thomas Harris. I have watched Silence of the Lambs. I have watched the Hannibal series. I am a huge fan of the Hannibal series. But I have yet to read a book about Hannibal. And I think there are some arguments over whether these books are horror or thrillers or crime or whatever. I consider Hannibal to be a horror character, so I'm including him in this list because I have not read his books and I need to. I need to know what I'm missing out on. I need to know if I'm going to be upset that it's not as good as the TV show. I just need to get on that, guys. If we hit back with Stephen King, I'm about to have a lot of people want to revoke my constant reader card because I've never read Different Seasons, which means that I haven't read Stand By Me, or The Body, and I haven't read Shawshank Redemption. I know. Probably the first thing someone asked me when they realized that I like Stephen King is if I have watched those movies, which I also haven't, but for a good reason. Because they ask if I've watched those movies, and I haven't watched those movies because I haven't read the books, which means that my entire existence of being a constant reader should just be thrown out the window. Because for some reason, those seem to be the biggest stories of King's that people want to know if you've read or not. And I don't understand it. They must be amazing, and I swear if they are not both 5-star stories, I'm going to be mad at every single one of you guys. I have also never read The Woman in White. I believe that is like one of the, pillars of the horror community, but I haven't read it. I have it too. Just haven't read it, guys, because I suck, okay? I'm a procrastinator when it comes to reading just as much as I am when it comes to editing or writing. As for, most of the classics, I've read books like Dracula and Frankenstein and Picture of Dorian Gray and stuff like that, but there is one that comes to mind that I haven't read, and that would be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I also own this book. I think I own 2 or 3 copies of this book, but I haven't read it. Why? Again, because I suck, guys, okay? This video is very telling of me. I'm a horrible person. I should not be allowed to live. Oh, here's another one for you guys. I'm not sure if this is a good thing or if this is an embarrassing thing, but I have never read a single Dean Koontz book either. Or James Herbert. I've never read any of his books either, and I own books by both of them. But they just sit on the shelves, and I look at them and I go, "Those are books I need to read." And then I look on my Kindle and I'm like, "These are books I need to read." So then I don't read any of them. Yeah. So yeah, guys. That's basically me just telling you guys that I am a horrible fan of horror, especially in literature. You don't want to get me started on movies. Although I do think that I've probably seen more movies that are considered classics, you need to watch them type of movies. I feel like I have seen more of those than I have in books. I have a lot more books that I need to read than anything else. Yeah, look at this. The Bucket Boy doesn't have his cone on. Yeah, say hi. Hi. Mr. Salem decided that he was going to destroy his cone, so instead we did this number. Cat caps. The little claw claps, so that he won't scratch his ear anymore and mess it up. You look so angry. Okay, guys. All of my social media and books are in the description box down below. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel and give this video a big thumbs up, especially if you also have never read any of those books I mentioned, because I would love to know that I'm not alone. And until next week, guys, kisses, my darlings. You want to do the pond? You want to do